Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast and happy Thanksgiving. We hope that you're all having a wonderful time with your families on this fun, festive day. And we have a special bonus episode of the podcast for you today. We're really excited. You could call this the one where Hallmarkies made it. Maybe that could be the episode because we're talking Friends today. It's so fun. And I am Film Critic Rachel Wagner, and Kaycee's here.
Hi, everybody. Could I be any more excited to be back on the Hallmarkies podcast?
And Jess is here.
Hello. I'm so excited. I know you can't really see, but I have my Friends giving sweater on. So I am dressed for the occasion and ready to talk about these episodes.
Yeah. Well, so I was never like a huge Friends person, but I enjoyed the show enough. But one thing I always really enjoyed is watching the Thanksgiving episode. It was I think the best episode of the season of the episodes that I saw was always the highlight, was the Thanksgiving episode. And so I thought it would be fun. And of course we have to talk a little bit about the passing of Matthew Perry. He passed as I was, watching these episodes, and I don't normally watch a ton of Friends. And so it was like fresh on my mind, and it was just such a loss, and so sad. Definitely our hearts go out to his family and friends and everybody. And he was made such a contribution to the show. And what do you think, Kaycee, about that as far as Chandler and Matthew Perry and everything?
Yeah, actually, Jess texted me letting me know that Matthew Perry had passed away. And I was like, no, this has got to be some sick joke because, media and stuff. And so when I found out that it was truly real, I was very sad. I mean, this one hits differently. And I think it's because you kind of feel like you grow up with the Friends in a way. Like, it's weird because I'm a whole generation like after that, because I was a kid. I'm a 90s baby. Like, I was 4 years old when this show was a thing. But I remember, my friends' parents liking the show. I actually had a friend in 5th grade. I think she started in 4th grade, actually. So maybe we were in 4th and 5th grade. We were like best friends. And she loved Matthew Perry. I mean, her mom was a young mom, and her mom loved Friends. So of course her daughter watched Friends with her, and she would tell me how cute Matthew Perry was. And then I moved to Florida and she kept in contact with me, and she would send me pictures of Matthew Perry. I probably have a Juno account somewhere on the interwebs that has inbox of Matthew Perry pictures. And she just loved him. And so I didn't start watching Friends until I was in probably upper high school and stuff. But yeah, hearing about Matthew Perry's passing, it just, I don't know, this one hits a lot differently. And I think it's because the show is so integrated into pop culture, and it shows at Nick at Night and, Netflix and HBO Max and all these things. And you feel like you get to know these fictional characters in such a deep way that when the actors pass, such as the the man who played Gunther, when he passed, you just I don't know, you just feel different about it. It just hits differently, I think, for this generation.
Yeah. How do you feel, Jess?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same way. Well, I didn't even watch Fringe until college, so I didn't really grow up with it, I guess. But it was something me and my mom watched together, so I feel like it holds a little special place for me. And my cousin was the one who told me about his passing, and I was like, I didn't believe it. I literally went on Google. I'm like, no, that she's misinformed and stuff. And for me, I felt like it was one of the first times that I genuinely felt saddened by the passing of a celebrity. Yeah, because I can't say I've really felt that before. But I think for me too, Chandler is my favorite character because I identify with him. I use humor as a defense mechanism. I am Chandler, and so it just really felt like that connection with the character.
Yeah, he was definitely the highlight. Him and Phoebe, I think, were the highlights of the show. I mean, everybody else had their moments, but they were probably my two favorite characters of the show, Chandler and Phoebe.
Yeah, I love Chandler. He's so funny. And Matthew Perry's his quick wit and his comedic timing is just so impeccable. I read his book earlier this year, and it really gives a good insight into the mind of an addict. And I feel like reading that book made me appreciate him more as a person outside of Chandler.
Yeah.
Because it really did show his vulnerabilities. It was a bit of a hard read, just because of the content. Like, it's just hard to read somebody suffer, and you literally read about like 20 to 30 years of suffering, and addiction and stuff. And of course, it had its light moments and whatnot, but I would say it's definitely a good read if you know somebody who is struggling and you don't know how to help them, or you don't know how to empathize, like you don't know how to deal with those things. Like, that is a good book to read to get into the mind of somebody and why it's hard for them to get out of it. Because, I think he truly did want to get out of his addiction. And of course, but it's hard, when there's just, you're just tied to it and stuff. And I think that made me, it just helped me understand like where these people are coming from, because addiction runs rampant in this country. I mean, outside of Matthew Perry, I mean, drugs, alcohol, all the things. And so I would highly recommend people just reading it for that context. Again, it is a hard read, but it's a good read. It was very educational for me.
Well, I've lost two of my cousins to addiction, so it's definitely something that has affected my family, and so I'll put a link down if people want to check out. They'll definitely have to listen to that book, because that sounds meaningful. Well, let's talk about these Thanksgiving episodes. So obviously 10 seasons, 10 episodes, and would you agree, Jess, that the Thanksgiving episodes is a highlight?
I think so. When I think of like some of my favorite episodes, you immediately just picture some of the Thanksgiving scenes and moments. So I would agree with that. I think it's what the show is kind of known for a little bit. It has these really good Thanksgiving episodes.
Yeah. What do you think, Kaycee, about that?
Oh yeah, I think they're so fun. And it's the one thing that brings us all together is Thanksgiving. And so I just think they're always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and it was such a good way to work New York into the show and into the stories, because there's so many iconic parts about Thanksgiving in New York, with the parade and with the, other stuff. So I think that helped too. Well, let's go through them, and we'll say where we'll go year by year and just say where we have them ranked in our rankings. So we started season 1. It's episode 9, the one where the underdog gets away. This Thanksgiving episode sees the group experiencing their first Friendsgiving together after their holiday plans with their families falls through. This is when they realize that Thanksgiving can be fun, complicated, and surprising all at once. So, Kaycee, where did you have this one in your ranking?
So I have it at number 8.
Okay. And what about you, Jess?
I have it 9.
So I have it at 4. So I think I'm a little... Yes, I'm a little higher than you guys. So for me, the reason why I have it a little bit higher is I think the ending message is really the heart of the show. The idea that, okay, none of their plans worked out, but I'm glad they didn't work out because I'm here with all of you and with my friends, and sort of that created that family by choice that they kind of made, and is just really sweet. And so, yeah, that's why I had it at number 4. What about you, Kaycee? What for you in your ranking?
To be honest with you, it's because I had other ones that I liked more.
Yeah.
I was looking at this list. I did this list maybe a week and a half ago, and I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I don't know. Do I want to, like, whatever. I'm just going to keep it where it is. Because it is a good one. It does really bring that idea of a Friendsgiving, to us. I mean, I know my family, when we lived in Connecticut, we didn't have a whole lot of family up there. And so who do we celebrate Thanksgiving with? Our friend, like my family's friends. And, friends can become family. So.
Yeah, this year, my family is, my parents are going to be in Virginia. And so I'm spending Thanksgiving with my friend and her family. So, that just sometimes happens. What about you, Jess, for this one? What do you think of it?
Yeah, I think similar to Kaycee, there was just ones that I liked better that I feel like are a little bit more iconic for the Thanksgiving episodes. But I mean, I rewatched it, and it's from season 1, but it's still like a perfectly enjoyable episode. And kind of like you said, it has a really nice message because Monica is like so stressed about like getting everyone's like type of potatoes, and then the ending is like it really doesn't matter. They're trying to recreate all their families, but what really this matters is that they're spinning it together and they're gonna create a new type of Thanksgiving memory.
Because they all get a little meshed together for me, but doesn't Phoebe want peas in her potatoes?
Peas and onions.
Peas and
Joey
onions.
needs the tots, and then we need potatoes with the lumps and without the lumps. And
yeah. All right. Well, so season 2 is the one with the list. And if you were to find out during the holidays that someone created a pros and cons list about you, how would you feel? This is exactly what happens when Rachel stumbles upon Ross's version of the list. And so I have this one. Where do I have it? I have this one at 7. Yeah, it's 7. So what about you, Kaycee?
I have this one at 10 solely because it's not really Thanksgiving-y. There's no there may be a mention of Thanksgiving, and I was looking at the lists of Thanksgiving episodes, and some people don't even count this one as a Thanksgiving episode. So
that makes
that's
sense.
why I have it at 10. Also, what a bro thing to do, making a list. We can go on about that, but it's
well, it's interesting because I like the idea of like one of my favorite like moments in a Hallmark movie is when in The Perfect Catch, when Andrew Walker's character makes this pros and cons list of whether he's going to leave and become stay as being a baseball player or whether he's going to stay. That just to me is just really swoon worthy and really romantic, but not in the way that he does it here.
Yeah.
Not in here are the annoying things about Rachel.
Right. Let's pick apart this person and
what the heck's
them to a list of qualities.
Like him saying the con of whatever her name was is Julie. She's not Rachel. That doesn't overcome this like long list of all the things you think are annoying. So yeah, the pros con list can be very swoon worthy to me, but not the way he does it here. But Ross is just like he's one like face palm after another through the history of the show.
Yeah.
But where do you have it, Jess?
I have it at number 10 as well for like the exact same reason.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's not really to me a Thanksgiving episode. I didn't care for like the Mocklet storyline is not super interesting to me. I do love when Chandler is reading his short story that he makes up. That's probably my favorite part of the whole episode.
Yeah, that is
but
yeah.
Ho ho ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Right. So then we have season 3, episode 9, the one with the football. this is the little summaries that I have. It says, the infamous football game. Monica and Ross were once banned from playing this on the holiday. And when Rachel, Chandler, Phoebe, and Joey decide to play before this year's Thanksgiving, they all immediately understand why. And this one I remember quite fondly. And I think maybe that's why I have it pretty high, but it's definitely one I remember watching with my roommates and other things like that. Where do you have this one, Kaycee?
I have season 3 at number 3 because football is it's so iconic to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The sibling rivalry is hilarious to me. The fact that Monica fished out the Geller cup out of the pond, like all of the elements to it are just so fun, so funny. And I also love the fact that Monica brings her timer and she's like, we've got 20 minutes until I have to baste the turkey. So it's just, I don't know, it's just such one of the iconic Thanksgiving episodes of Friends, for sure, for me.
Yeah. Where do you have it, Jess?
I have it very close. I have it at number 4. And yeah, I really, really enjoy this episode. I think it's a lot of fun. Just with the sort of exaggerated the rivalry for the whole game and stuff. And I think it's just, a lot of fun dynamics that play out.
Yeah. I also have it at 3. I think it's definitely the sibling dynamic I can relate to because I have, from a big family where we have a lot of these things. And so I connect with that. And it's a very funny one. So yeah, I agree on that one. Okay. So then we have season 4, episode 8, the one with Chandler in a box. Sometimes best friends fight, especially around the holidays, and tensions are at an all-time high between Joey and Chandler because one of them broke the bro code. The only way this can be solved is by Chandler agreeing to be locked in a box as a means to make it all up to Joey. So Jess, where do you have this one? What do you think of it?
I have this one at number 8. Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoy this episode, just not one of my favorites.
What about you, Kaycee?
Close. I have it at number 7. Similar reasons. I also think that I appreciate the extended storyline of Joey and Kathy and Chandler, and that whole love triangle. But as a singular episode for Thanksgiving, I just have it a little lower because there are more iconic episodes, in my opinion.
So I have it at 5. And I do think it really delivers on the laughs. I think it's really funny. I mean, every time that Chandler's in that box talking to people, I mean, I think it's funny. And sometimes Friends isn't like the most laugh out loud show. And so when you get like the really good, laughs, I think it delivers on for this one. So yeah, I had a 5. Okay. So season 5, we have season 5, episode 8, the one with all the Thanksgivings. Friends made this Thanksgiving special a throwback, highlighting a past holiday where everyone just looked completely different. It also happens to be the episode where Monica ends up with a turkey on her head, which is probably maybe the most iconic shot in all of Friends.
Yes.
I mean, it's up there for sure. I'm not a big fan of fat Monica. I kind of hate that. But other than that, it is very high. I think for almost everybody. I have it at 2.
Me too.
Yeah, it's really, really, really
I have
funny.
it at 6.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Okay.
Jess, do tell.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't enjoy like the flashbacks as much as I think everyone else does. I would say the turkey on the head is the best part for me of that episode. I don't know. I just didn't like they're not. I don't even know why. I just don't enjoy the flashbacks as much.
I mean, and we get both Monica and Joey with turkeys on their heads.
Yeah,
That's true.
That is
Joey.
just ridiculous. And the fact they say they can't get it off is just ridiculous. And think how gross that must have been. I mean, obviously they had like must have had like plastic or something, but that would still be absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
I think Courtney Cox put a turkey on her head and put it as a reel or something on TikTok or Instagram or something. But I'm pretty sure she showed us how she did it. I think she put plastic wrap all over her like head and then put the turkey in. We should find that. I'm pretty sure she did that one year, but I have it as number 2 because I feel like it's one of the most iconic moments. And as a big Chandler and Monica fan, this one was just like, that was chef's kiss, like the ending of that episode when he just blurts out, "It's so great, I love you," and she's like, "What did you say?"
Yeah. Well, and
the turkey on her head. So
it's also hilarious when the doctor's like, "It's a carrot."
Yeah.
Your toe.
Toe. That was funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that they went with, because originally they weren't planning. It was just going to be like a weekend fling between Chandler and Monica over the wedding. But I guess it tested well, and they decided to keep going with it. And I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Courtney Cox actually just posted, when she posted her tribute to Matthew, she posted the extended version, which you can see in the Friends reunion, of when she pops up from under the sheets, and you can see like the crowd's just like, they're not stopping.
Right.
And that's what did it for the show. I mean, and for Chandler and Monica, which was supposed to be like the one night fling, and then it turned into a secret relationship, which, I mean, honestly, it was so smart of them to put those two characters together, because if you watch up until that point, Chandler and Monica / Matthew and Courtney have such great chemistry.
Yeah.
Where you have like Chandler saying to Monica in previous seasons, like, "If I were the only man left in the world, would you date me?" And she's like, "No, like, you're just my friend." Like, what? And then to have this and then have it different than Ross and Rachel. Just, I think that was like the secret sauce to extending that show, because we had another couple to invest in, and it wasn't just the Rachel and Ross show.
And it wasn't so dramatic.
Right. It was more funny, and they had their own issues with Chandler's insecurities and stuff. So it was such a brilliant move.
Yeah. I think that you need to almost have one couple in a show that's you can rely on. I mean, as much as I hated the ending of How I Met Your Mother, at least they did have Marshall and Lily, who you knew they were not going to break up. You knew that there's some, like, there's something to rely on.
Right.
But yeah, what do you all think they should have had Ross and Rachel? How do you feel about the Ross and Rachel relationship and the ending and everything? What do you think, Jess, about that?
I know what Jess thinks.
Well, it's interesting because as I was watching like these again, I like binged them all last night. It just struck me how different their relationship kind of was in the beginning, or like just the tone and feeling of it toward the end. I kind of wish we had gotten them together a little sooner and seen them more happy, instead of always like this kind of contention, or like there was always a lot of drama, like, well, kind of are, but then we're not, we're not. And I kind of wish we just had more of a significant period where they were,
Yeah. I can see that. All right. So next we have season 6. This is the one where Ross got high. Monica and Chandler have progressed their relationship to the point where they now live with each other. When Monica and Ross's parents visit them for the holidays, Chandler sees this as a chance to win them over, though some old misconstrued secrets come to light, putting everyone in an exasperated mood. So, Jess, where do you have this one?
I love this one. I have it at number 2.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Kaycee?
I have this at number 1.
Yeah, I do too. I have it at number 1. I mean, I if I were going to pick one moment that I think is the funniest moment in the entire show, it is Rachel with this darn trifle. I think it is absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
And everybody like eating the trifle.
It's like feet.
Well, and you have Joey. I like it. Everybody's plates and everybody going to different places to like
to enjoy
dispose of
it.
That is just funny.
Yeah.
It is really, really, really funny. And so for that alone, I knew going into it that this was going to be my favorite.
Yeah.
But it's also just, I love I love when their mom is just like, you don't put meat in the tribal, and she goes through everybody's. She's like, that's a lot of information to absorb in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Rachel, have you heard Matt LeBlanc tell the behind the scenes story of him and Ross with the plate of like the trifle?
Oh no.
Okay, yeah, you need to look it up. The way he tells it is so funny, but basically, David Schwimmer had way too much on his plate and he spits it out. But Matt LeBlanc was looking the other way. And so when David was talking to somebody else, Matt took his plate and scraped half of Schwimmer's plate onto his, and didn't realize that Schwimmer had spat like the remains on the plate. But to hear Matt LeBlanc tell the story, it's so funny.
That's funny because like when you eat on any kind of set, it's always the worst for actors because they have to eat like way more because of all the takes and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he was probably already eating way more than he wanted. That's funny. Yeah. It's just a really, really well written. The banter and the comedic timing, just everything is really funny. And and the whole thing with their parents hating Chandler and when they finally realized it was me, I was Ross, I was the one.
And they had like all this like, if this was you and this was you, and it's like, I feel like that scene in particular is just very, very well done.
Yeah, the lady who plays the mom, she's really funny. She's really good.
She's so good. Yeah. I just love when Courtney says, Ross married Rachel in Vegas and got divorced. Oh my God. I love Jacques Cousteau. I wasn't supposed to put beef in the trifle. I want to go.
That's a lot of information to absorb in 30 seconds.
You know, I have the Friends cookbook, and I'm pretty sure there is a trifle recipe in there, although I do not think it includes beef. But I should make that sometime. Maybe this Thanksgiving or a future Thanksgiving, I will make the trifle.
Yeah, it would have to. I mean, what kind of cookbook is that if it didn't include the beef?
Yeah, I have that cookbook too. I should grab
it. Really?
Yeah.
You know, at the Warner Brothers lot, they have a whole Friends experience that you can do where you can. They've got like the set and they've got the couch you can sit on, whatever, and they have a whole cafe, a whole coffee shop. That's supposed to be like Central Park, and the fact they didn't have beef trifles very disappointing. I think it would be a big seller.
Yeah, right.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the good folks over at Baker Bookhouse Publishing and their fun holiday reads. Hallmarkies, if you can't get enough of the countdown to Christmas movies, we have a treat for you. Get into the holiday spirit with not one, but two enchanting Christmas romance novels. First, immerse yourself in All's Fair in Love and Christmas by Sarah Monzon. An office rivals to more romance about two colleagues who have to use their Christmas spirits to compete for a big promotion. And for more enchantment, dive into You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Toni Shiloh, where a woman must return to her hometown for her sister's wedding to her ex-boyfriend, but she might end up finding a new love that lasts beyond Christmas Day. So grab your hot cocoa, snuggle under a blanket, and let these books sweep you off your feet. Purchase You Make It Feel Like Christmas and All's Fair in Love and Christmas for 30% off and free shipping at bakerbookhouse.com. That's bakerbookhouse.com, or you can use the affiliate link below. So, yes. All right. So then we have season 7, episode 8, the one where Chandler doesn't like dogs. And Phoebe found a pup that she's head over heels for, so she obviously has to bring it home. There's only one problem. Chandler's biggest fear has always been dogs. So Phoebe and the rest of the crew go through great efforts to keep her new companion a secret. But when everyone gets together for the holidays, it becomes a task too hard to complete. So where do you have this one, Jess?
I have this one at 7. I didn't find the dog storyline as intriguing. I actually love the bee storyline a lot more, which is Ross trying to get the 50 states when he's the scientist and like, the intellectual of the group and just cannot do this simple task.
That was pretty funny. I don't know about you guys, but we had, there was a challenge growing up that to memorize all the 50 states. There was like a little song that we learned. Yeah. And you got some kind of prize. I can't remember what it was if you memorized all the 50 states. And it's still with me. I still have it. It's in there. Like, it's just so funny. It's like one of those things that once you learn,
you never forget it.
Yeah. You never forget it. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California. Yeah. But I don't know. What do you think of this one, Kaycee?
No, I agree with Jess. With the states, the B storyline about the states is way funnier to me. So I have this actually at number 9, so it's pretty low. Yeah. I found the 50 states things was definitely way funnier than the dog storyline, I think. And so that's why I have it a little lower.
Yeah. I have it at 8. So I'm, close to you guys. Yeah, I mean, and that dog was adorable. I mean, come on. Yeah, it was so cute. But it's a fairly forgettable episode. It's fun enough, but it's fairly forgettable. So, okay. So then we have season 8, episode 9, the one with the rumor. Rachel's old high school pal, Will, pops in for Thanksgiving this year, though what was once a blast from the past quickly turns into Rachel's worst nightmare. Not only are old rumors of her coming back, but she finds out that she was once hated by Will and Ross. So this one I have at 6. I think it has some funny parts. There's also some I think we're a little bit more sensitive now about like trans. We try to be more sensitive to trans issues and other issues. The idea that somebody with what did they call somebody with both sexual organs, that means it's like the worst insult that you could be given, and there's parts of it that feel insensitive to me about this, and that is a criticism that Friends sometimes gets ladled, is that it can be a little, insensitive to our new, ideas. But I think a lot of times those moments were done as satire. They were done to make fun of people like that, to be, I don't think. But in this case, it is generally the worst insult that Rachel could be given, which is a little not the best. So, but it does have some good laughs, and it is kind of fun to see Brad Pitt, and just, especially with just how handsome he is and how Phoebe is fun. So, yeah, I have it at 6. What about you, Jess? Where do you have it?
I have it pretty close. I have it at 5. For me, my favorite part though is Joey with the turkey and the Thanksgiving pants. I mean, I'm pretty sure every year I'm about needing my Thanksgiving pants.
Yeah.
So for me, that's just a super, super iconic moment. Watching him struggle to devour an entire turkey, which I need to know if someone out there has done this.
Right.
With that size of a turkey. It's a pretty large turkey that he had. It wasn't one of the small ones.
I'm sure some of those competitive eaters or something.
They could probably
because he's a Tribbiani and he wears Phoebe's pregnancy pants. Yeah. Where do you have it, Kaycee?
I also have it at number 5. Similar reasons to Jess. I like the turkey story. Brad Pitt's very iconic. There are lots of funny moments in this one, but again, there are some others that I just like and appreciate more. But yeah, so I have that pretty much in the middle.
Yeah. All right. So season 9, episode 8, the one with Rachel's other sister, because Reese Witherspoon was her other sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Rachel's very opinionated sister decides she wants to pay a visit one Thanksgiving. The entire episode is filled with them bickering, but a silver lining is gratefully found at the end. Oh, and somehow Joey forgot he was supposed to be on a Thanksgiving float this year, which is clearly a problem. So I have this one at last. I have this one at 10. I know.
Oh, no. Okay, I gotta hear why.
Because I just don't like all the fighting. It's just too, I don't know. It's like the bickering is too much, and she's such an unlikable character that it just kind of spoils it for me. And it's not like funny enough to overcompensate for how unlikable and annoying I find her character, the other sister, Christine Applegate. And that is something that it can be pretty hard sell for me, is when there's a lot of fighting. It kind of makes me like a little bit tense. So then it has to be like really funny. And so it did make my number 10. What about you, Kaycee? Where do you have it?
Season 9, I have it at number 6. Yeah, the one with other sisters, number 6. So I again, I just like, there are other episodes I appreciate more, but the one thing I do appreciate about this episode is that it's the one thing I liked about this episode, it's the whole idea of who's going to take Emma.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny because we forget that there's another side to Emma's family, which is Rachel's family. And so, when you have that layer and you go, oh, wait a second. I mean, yeah, that's something to talk about. Like, I've thought about this with my own kids. Like, if, knock on wood, like my husband and I pass, like, who gets our kids? There's his side of the family, there's my side of the family. And so you have to kind of navigate those things. But I also, where I was going with this originally, is like, what I really did appreciate is the fact that they highlighted Chandler, because you really see his growth from season 1 up until this point. And he's so, in the early years, he's very insecure. He can't hold a stable relationship. And then we see him growing, with Monica. Like that's like his turning point, is like he kind of grows up a bit, which, side note, it took me several years to figure out that he was like a boss man at work. I was watching an episode, I was like, oh, he's a VP. Oh,
yeah,
he's not this, yeah, he's a true monster. But I don't know, I really appreciated seeing his growth in that moment, and like him stepping in to break up the fight and stand up for Monica and her crazy plates, and just so many other things. But yeah, I do have it at 6 because I liked other ones better.
That is kind of funny when he realizes that they're the first option, but if Monica weren't there, then it would be to her parents. Yeah. And he's like, what?
My 2 best friends die and my wife dies, and the one thing in my life.
There's your movie.
Where do you have it, Jess?
Well, now I need to know from the listeners that I am the only one. I have this at number 1. This is my favorite episode. For a lot of episodes, there's usually like one storyline you really like, maybe like the other ones you don't really care about as much. But for me, I liked every aspect of the story in this episode. I love the dynamic with Rachel's sister. I love how Christina Applegate plays her. And I think for me, like, it's a lot of bickering, but because it's so ridiculous and so over the top, it's funny to me. Because, like, I mean, maybe there's some people out there who act like that. I don't know, but for me, it's super over the top. And then, yeah, the storyline of who's gonna get Emma and all of that banter, and even like with the crazy plate lady and Phoebe like cutting her turkey like in the air, because I do have people in my life who are like that. Okay, so that's super funny. People get like really obsessed about things like that.
Yeah, the plate gag is pretty good. That's funny.
So yeah, for me, I love every storyline in here. I have a lot of laugh out loud moments for me. So this is my number 1.
That's really funny.
Somebody else love this one with me. Someone out there, please comment. Let me know I'm
put
not
in the
alone.
comments.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
All right, so season 10, episode 8. I think they're almost all episode 8s. But
Yeah, 8 or 9.
the one with the late Thanksgiving. Like every year, this Thanksgiving is mayhem for the posse. For one, Phoebe, Rachel, Ross, and Joey all arrive really late for Monica and Chandler's Thanksgiving dinner. The couple decides to poke fun and not let the four of them inside. It was funny at first, but then Joey gets his head stuck inside the door, which then turns everyone's efforts into trying to get him out. So Kaycee, where do you have this one?
I have this at number 4.
Oh.
I think it's a good bookend to the first Thanksgiving, because with the first Thanksgiving, everybody's late because they lock themselves out of Monica's apartment. In this sense, everyone's late because they decide to do everything else, and Monica's slaving away at the stove again. And so I feel like it was a good way to bookend the Thanksgivings. And then the Joey's head stuck, that's just very comedic, and they're a bunch of shenanigans. And then I think what really did it for me, and why I have it ranked a bit higher than some of the others, is that we finally get the good news about Monica and Chandler's potential adoption, and that they've been picked for a family. And so I don't know, that just gives, as a mom, that just gives me all the feels. And I love Monica and Chandler. They're my favorite couple. And their storylines are always my favorite. And so maybe slightly biased here and why it's higher. But I don't know. It's just it gives me the warm fuzzies, even though there's a bunch of ridiculous shenanigans that happens with it. It just ends on such a high note that I don't know. It just really
especially that ending is so good. It really is a wonderful moment. They're gonna end up being parents. Yay. Jess, where do you have it?
I have it at number 3. So also
very high too.
For me. And Kaycee, I'm really glad you said that, because I didn't think about it before about this being a bookend, because there are a lot of parallels when you really think about it. The first one, Monica so stressed, it's her first Thanksgiving, and then this one she doesn't want to do it, but then everyone makes her do it, so she's really stressed again. First one, they're all locked out, and in this one they're also locked out, but for a different reason, because they're being kept out. But yeah, that's really interesting. I really enjoy this episode. I think just the floating heads is such a brilliant moment of having them all having their heads through the door. And of course, like you said, just the moment that wraps it all up of them finally going to be parents, and kind of just resolving none of this doesn't matter. And it's kind of like the first one again, it doesn't matter because we're together and family and friends, and here again it doesn't matter because it's really about family and all that. So
I had not thought of it as being this bookend, because obviously it's the last season, so that would totally make sense. And that's a good point. And it is funny with Chandler, because he's got all this childhood trauma about Thanksgiving, because his parents told him they were getting divorced, and he's making cranberry sauce and super.
Cranberry sauce? I feel like that's never been a thing at the Thanksgivings in any of my family gatherings.
Oh, cranberry sauce?
Yeah.
Well, that's so funny you mentioned that, because it's a big deal in my family.
Really?
Yeah. And I went to a friend's house a couple of years ago for Thanksgiving. My family was out of town, and they didn't have cranberry sauce. And I was just like, what? no cranberry sauce. And so now I've learned. So I'm going to my friend, a different friend's Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm like, I'm bringing the can. I'm bringing just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case.
That's so funny. Yeah. That's a thing in my in-laws side of the family, cranberry sauce. That's not so much a thing on my side of the family.
Yeah.
But we're also Filipino, so
Yeah.
our Thanksgiving probably looks a little different than the traditional American turkey, the mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese Thanksgivings. But
is there something that's traditional for Filipino, like?
I mean, no,
like
we just
Thanksgiving, obviously not like in the Philippines, they wouldn't celebrate Thanksgiving.
But well, I mean, I think people, I don't know. Well, I mean, people give, I think some people give thanks in Thanksgiving in the Philippines. I'm not really sure, but anyways,
I mean, it is American territory.
Yeah, I don't think they have the. Yeah, it was for like several years until the 1946 or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, our Thanksgivings it's just whatever. I mean, we do have a turkey at my family's, like we always have a turkey or a ham, and we always have like the mashed potatoes, but then we have everything else. I mean, it's just a giant potluck of parties. I mean, anything goes. But
honestly, I just tell my family that we should just go to, there's this place here called Chakarama. It's basically like Golden Corral. It's like a buffet place. Like we should just go there because it's a nightmare in my family now, because we have, my mom's gluten-free, and then we have like 2 vegans. And so my mom has to make like 5 different kinds of stuffing. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I mean, because like, to me, at least, most of the food for Thanksgiving is like really yummy, but like not like special. Like, I think turkey is turkey and stuffing is stuffing. And so like, why not just go someplace where everybody can just get whatever they want instead of trying to make like 50 dishes? It's like, you gotta have the gluten-free pie, and you gotta have the regular pies, and you gotta have the vegan pie. It's ridiculous. And so I don't know, but they don't listen. They don't. I mean, this year they're all out of town, so it's fine. But they don't listen. One year I did go to Chakarama for Thanksgiving. It was great. I just picked what I liked, and it was great. No mess.
Yeah, no mess to clean up. You're all good.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing real quick that you mentioned earlier about Chandler hating Thanksgiving. One thing that just dawned on me is that the 10th Thanksgiving has redeemed all the terrible Thanksgivings for Chandler, because that's the day he finds out that he's going to be a dad, so
that's true.
That's also a nice little tie-in there.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything with Joey in the door is ridiculous. I mean, it is so silly, but there you go.
The eyes.
Yeah.
Really sorry.
So there we go. So I'll go over my ranking. I have season 6 at number 1. I have season 5 at number 2, season 3 at 3, season 1 at 4, season 4 at 5, season 8 at 6, season 2 at 7, season 7 at 8, season 10 at 9, and season 9 at 10. So what about you, Kaycee? Let's go over your ranking.
Okay, so that's really funny because our first 3 are exactly the same. So I have season 6 at 1, 5 at 2, season 3 at 3, season 10 at 4, season 8 at 5, season 9 at 6, season 4 at 7, season 1 at 8, season 7 at 9, and season 2 at 10.
Okay, and Jess?
All right, so I have season 9 at 1, season 6 at 2, season 10 at 3, season 3 at 4, season 8 at 5, season 5 at 6, season 7 at 7, season 4 at 8, season 1 at 9, and season 2 at 10.
Great. Well, very good. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed doing this. And so let us know what your ranking is in the comments or on Twitter. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And Jess, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at JessBSWblog. I have a Twitter, but I'm not really active on there anymore. So follow me on Instagram.
Very good. And Kaycee?
You can follow me on Instagram at Kaycee__Simpson on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter much these days, so Instagram's where it's at.
Yeah. So, and if you want to hear more of mine and Jess's thoughts on Friends, there is an episode of the Francast that we did on the best Janice episodes, which was really fun because it was a Fran Drescher copycat character.
You know what's
so
funny, real
that
quick?
was fun.
I did have this thought at the end of this. I'm like, Janice is not in a single one of these.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, that's right.
It's sad. We need
Yeah.
Janice in one of these.
Yeah. She's one of my favorites. Yeah. So I'll put a link down to that. People can check that one out. That was fun. A fun episode of Francast. So yeah, let us know what you think. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. 5 stars. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Most of our viewers are subscribers. So if you're in that camp, please subscribe. It really helps the algorithm a lot. And if you check out our Patreon, which is so much fun, we get to talk about all the movies and shows. And we have monthly watch-alongs, which are real fun, and a chance to get to hear from talent and find the behind the scenes of your favorite Hallmark movies and rom-coms. And we also have the merch store, which has some fun designs. And this season, me and Jessica, the artist, took a inspiration from Barbie. So we have, I'm a Hallmark girl, I'm a theater girl, different designs. And I think they turned out real fun. So check it out. And thanks so much to both of you. We wish you both happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.